Allan Aguirre with your Incorruptible 2-minute warning. My alarms are going nuts right now, and here's why. I'm going to go into Friday. We're not going to have a normal 2-minute warning. I want to share a couple things with you real quick. It's Wednesday, October 11th. Sirens are sounding across northern Israel. So here we are, round 2, what we were afraid of. And residents were told to shelter in place amid reports of an incoming large-scale drone attack. Israelis throughout the country were ordered to shelter in place amid a large-scale attack involving drones coming from the direction of the northern border on Wednesday evening. That's right now, the Jerusalem Post reported. The local outlet said there were reports of terrorists on paragliders. See, when that happened on the south, I knew this was not a regular attack. The PLO isn't capable of doing that. They needed somebody else outside help to do that. Well, now they're doing it on the north. They're landing in northern Israel. Israeli Defense Forces said it received a report of a suspected infiltration from Lebanon into Israeli airspace. It's dangerous for someone to say, "Okay, this is Armageddon, right? This is insert ancient biblical prophecy, right? This is what that is. This is what this is, or this is the Ezekiel war, or this is this war, or this is that's dangerous to do. I'm not doing that. Here's what I am going to do. Christianity has been taught some things erroneously because, well, that's just the way it works. And regarding everything, regarding charismatica, regarding Torah, regarding all sorts of things, and including, end time prophecy and that kind of stuff. Christianity, here's what Christianity believes and teaches. Mainstream. I'm talking mainstream, large, wide swath. I'm not right. Mainstream, Romanized Western Christianity believes that we don't know when Jesus is coming back. No man knows the day or hour. That's out of context, and that's not what he's talking about. And then you also have the, he's coming as a thief in the night. Okay. Yes, those words are in the Bible, but Christianity doesn't understand those words. They don't understand those words contextually. Once again, Christianity hurts itself with one verse exegesis. That's what they're taught in seminary. I'm convinced of it. I don't know this, but I'm pretty sure that's where they got it from. You can't do that because you get it all wrong. And so here's what there's two things I want to say. This is the first thing I want to say regarding no man knows the day or the hour, or he's coming as a thief in the night, right? So, right? Well, Revelation 16:15, behold, I am coming like a thief. Blessed is the one who stays awake. So according to Christianity, no one is capable of staying awake. Since they're across the board theology on this particular doctrine is he's coming like a thief in the night. No one can know when he's coming. No one can know. Jesus even said, no man knows the day or the hour, just my Father in heaven does. Well, he's talking about two different things. One, his second coming. Two, the end of the age. The end of the age, only his Father knows about. But Jesus' return? No, that's a whole different thing. So according to Christianity, nobody can stay awake. No one can see him coming as a thief in the night. Well, I'm going to go with the Bible. Christianity versus the Bible. What's the Bible say? The Bible says, behold, I am coming like a thief. ! Blessed is the one who stays awake, keeping his garments on, that he may not go about naked and be seen exposed! ! Alan, but that's just one verse. That's one verse in Revelation 16, verse 15. Yeah, but do you want me to go into context? Don't be ridiculous. Of course this is contextual. Let me do that. Let me go into context, okay? Here's what verse 14 says ahead. No, here we go. Verse 12, the sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up to prepare the way for the kings from the east. And I saw coming out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, 3 unclean spirits like frogs. You want context? I'll give you context. For they are demonic spirits, performing signs, who go abroad to the kings of the whole world to assemble them to battle on the great day of God the Almighty. You know, if you're asking me for context, you're probably not charismatic, you probably don't speak in tongues, you probably don't actually have an involvement with the spiritual realm. Well, buddy, we've got demonic spirits being unleashed like frogs, 3 of them, performing signs, who go abroad to the kings of the whole world to assemble them. Oh, do you mean this thing is spiritual? Behold, I am coming like a thief. Blessed is the one who stays awake, keeping his garments on, that he may not go about naked and be seen exposed. And they assembled them at the place that in the Hebrew is called Armageddon. That's not somewhere in the US of A, let me tell you that. That's not here. That's over there. All right, there's one. This is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about 2 things. One is that we don't know. We can't tell. We won't be able to know or tell when Jesus is coming back. That's not true. That's a lie. You've been fed a lie. The majority of what you've been taught is a lie. Here's the truth. Matthew 24:43. But know this, that if the master of the house had known in what part of the night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and would not have let the house be broken into. Which, again, that suggests you can be awake and know when this is going to happen. That was Matthew 24:43. Let's put that in context, Allan. Okay. Verse 43, where is it? I wasn't planning on doing this, but since there's probably people out there that are, anyway. I know you guys aren't, but there are people out there that'll see this and go, All right, here we go. Verse 38 of Matthew 43. For as in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage. Let's go back one. 37. For as were the days of Noah, how were the days of Noah? Well, it would be Genesis 6. Sons of God having sex with human women and creating a race of giants known as Nephilim. You wanted context. For as in those days, right, before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, and watching Netflix in bed with the missus. Life as usual. Until the day when Noah entered the ark, and they were unaware until the flood came and swept them all away. Not Noah and the ark, the people that would drown outside of the ark. They were unaware when it happened. What's this? Well, it's called rain, because he had never rained before. Probably don't know that either. And they were unaware until the flood came and swept them all away. So will be the coming of the Son of Man. Then 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken and one left. 2 women will be grinding in the mill, one will be taken and one left. Allan, that sounds like a rapture. Not going to go there. Therefore, stay awake, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. But know this, that if the master of the house had known in what part of that night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake, and would not have let his house be broken into. Therefore, you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. Oh, okay. So Jesus himself said to stay awake and to be aware and to have a clue so that this doesn't surprise you. See how Christianity has it completely wrong? 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. Ready? We're going to read verses 1 through 11. How's that for context? Here we go. This is called the day of the Lord. Now concerning the times and the seasons, brothers, you have no need to have anything written to you. For you yourselves, unfortunately, this church had a clue. We do need to be told. We do need to have this written to us. And we need to be reminded and told because we don't believe what they believe. We believe something that's been made up. We believe in an erroneous concept. All right? For you yourselves are fully aware that the day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night. while people are saying there is peace and security, then sudden destruction will come upon them. As labor pains come upon a pregnant woman, and they will not escape. But you are not in darkness, brothers, for that day to surprise you like a thief. For you are all children of light, children of the day. Whoa. So every Christian that utters, he comes like a thief in the night, no one knows when he will come, are living in darkness, and they're not children of light. Because Paul is saying that you are not in darkness, brothers, for that day to surprise you like a thief. For you are all children of light, children of the day. We are not of the night or of the darkness. So then let us not sleep as others do, but let us keep awake and be sober. For those who sleep, sleep at night, and those who get drunk are drunk at night. But since we belong to the day, let us be sober, having put on the breastplate of faith and love, and for a helmet, the hope of salvation. For God has not destined us for wrath, but to obtain salvation through our Lord Jesus Christ, who died for us so that whether we are awake or asleep, we might live with him. Therefore, encourage one another and build one another up, just as you are doing. If you believe that Jesus is coming like a thief, and no one has any way of knowing when that will be, Paul says you are not a child of the light, you are a child of darkness, and you're not sober-minded, and you're deceived. For that day to surprise you like a thief. But you are not in darkness, brothers, for that day to surprise you like a thief. All right? So we just dispelled that nonsense. Here's the part 2 I wanted to get to. Here's part 2. I'm also not saying, and I made this clear at the very beginning, that, what's happening right now in Israel? No. But what I am saying is, that's the stage. Not America. U.S. does play a huge role, which I won't get into, but Israel is the stage. That's where Jesus is coming back to Israel, not America. And another thing that Christians don't understand is that the second coming, the return of Jesus, that is coming like a thief in the night, that no one can ever know about when that's going to happen, is Jesus coming back to deliver Israel from her mortal human enemies. One of the reasons why Christians can't handle that is because they don't believe that Israel is the nation state of Israel in the Bible. Well, Hamas does. Muslims do. That's why they're trying to eradicate them. There's no question in their mind. The majority of mainstream Christianity doesn't understand that. They don't believe that. They believe that Israel isn't the Israel of God, and that they're an apartheid state, and that the Palestinians are good, Israel's bad. Well, you're in for a huge surprise, because the people you think are good are massacring children, babies. All right, I'm not going to go there. The Lord will give salvation. That's the name of this piece. Ready? Follow along. We are in Zechariah chapter 12, verses 1 through 14. I'm sorry, my mistake. I don't want to go there yet. I want to go, crap, I just messed it all up. This is all on the fly. I didn't know I was going to do this, but it needs to be done. All right, 1 second. Let me see here. Bum, 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 bada, 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 bum. Okay. I'm not saying, thus says the Lord, this is it. No, what I'm saying is, let's read what the Bible does say about that time. Read the word and take a look out your window. Okay? Joel 3:2. I will gather all the nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. Don't think that there's not more than one nation involved with what's happening right now in Israel. And I will enter into judgment with them there on behalf of my people and my heritage, Israel, because they have scattered them among the nations and have divided up my land. Oops. Let's go. Yeah, let's just cut to the quick. Let's go to Zechariah. Ready? All right. We are in Zechariah 12, 1 through 14. Here we go. The oracle of the word of the Lord concerning Israel. Thus declares the Lord, who stretched out the heavens and founded the earth and formed the spirit of man within him. Behold, also, if it's not the Israel of God, boy, whoever's there, whoever those people are, they sure are pulling a fast one on God. Verse 2, behold, I'm about to make Jerusalem a cup of staggering to all the surrounding peoples. The siege of Jerusalem will also be against Judah. On that day I will make Jerusalem a heavy stone for all the peoples. And then there's the people that said, oh, Allan, this already happened. This happened in 70 AD. Okay. No, because Israel's there. The tribe of, it's all, right? Okay. Don't believe that nonsense. All who lift it will surely hurt themselves, and all the nations of the earth will gather against it. On that day, because if it happened in 70 AD, then Jesus came back and we're living in the millennium reign. And there's actually people out there that believe that right now. And I asked those people, who's Jesus and where is he? We don't know. You're a special stupid. All right, on that day, declares the Lord, I will strike every horse with panic and its rider with madness. But for the sake of the house of Judah, I will keep my eyes open when I strike every horse of the peoples with blindness. Then the clans of Judah shall say to themselves, the inhabitants of Jerusalem have strength through the Lord of hosts, their God. On that day I will make the clans of Judah like a blazing pot in the midst of wood, like a flaming torch among sheaves, and they shall devour to the right and to the left all the surrounding peoples, while Jerusalem shall again be inhabited in its place, in Jerusalem. And the Lord will give salvation to the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem may not surpass that of Judah. On that day the Lord will protect the inhabitants of Jerusalem, so that the feeblest among them on that day shall be like David, and the house of David shall be like God, like the angel of the Lord going before them. And on that day I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem, him whom they have pierced. Verse 10, and I will pour out on the house of David and on the inhabitants of Jerusalem a spirit of grace and pleas for mercy, so that when they look at me, on him whom they have pierced, they shall mourn for him, as one mourns for an only child, and weep bitterly over him, as one weeps over a firstborn. On that day, the mourning in Jerusalem will be as great as the mourning for Hadad Rimmon in the plain of Megiddo, Armageddon. The land shall mourn, each family by itself, the family of the house of David by itself and their wives by themselves, the family of the house of Nathan by itself and their wives by themselves, the family of the house of Levi by itself, their wives by themselves, the family of the Shimeites by itself and their wives by themselves, and all the families that are left, each by itself and their wives by themselves. Zechariah. I'm setting the stage. Here we go. Now, the coming day of the Lord. We are in Zechariah chapter 14, verses 1 through 21. Behold, a day is coming for the Lord, when the spoil taken from you will be divided in your midst. For I will gather all the nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses plundered, and the women raped. That's what's been going on since Saturday morning. Half of the city shall go out into exile, but the rest of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Then the Lord will go out and fight against these nations as when he fights on a day of battle. Here you go. Then the Lord will go out and fight against these nations. On that day his feet shall stand on the Mount of Olives that lies before Jerusalem on the east, and the Mount of Olives shall be split in two from east to west by a very wide valley, so that one half of the mount shall be northward and the other half southward. Everybody understands and agrees, regardless of denomination, that this is Jesus coming down. Boom. Well, first, before he does that, he fights against enemies of Israel. And then he stands on the Mount of Olives. And you shall flee to the valley of my mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach to Azal. And you shall flee as you fled from the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah. Then the Lord my God will come, and all the holy ones with him. On that day there shall be no light, cold, or frost. There shall be a unique day, and there shall be a unique day which is known to the Lord, neither day nor night, but at evening time there shall be light. On that day living waters shall flow out from Jerusalem, half of them to the eastern sea, and half of them to the western sea. It shall continue in summer as in winter. And the Lord will be king over all the earth. It's the same Lord that came down to help Israel. It's the same Lord that came down and stood on the Mount of Olives. He will be king over all the earth. On that day the Lord will be one, and his name one. The whole land shall be turned into a plain from Geba to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem. But Jerusalem shall remain aloft on its site from the gate of Benjamin to the place of the former gate to the corner gate, and from the tower of Hanal to the king's wine presses. Jerusalem is securely established. And it shall be inhabited, for there shall never again be a decree of utter destruction. Jerusalem shall dwell in security. And this shall be the plague with which the Lord will strike all the peoples that wage war against Jerusalem. Their flesh will rot while they are still standing on their feet. Their eyes shall rot in their sockets, and their tongues will rot in their mouths. And on that day a great panic from the Lord shall fall on them, so that each will seize the hand of another and the hand of the one who will be raised against the hand of the other. Even Judah will fight at Jerusalem. And the wealth of all the surrounding nations shall be collected, gold, silver, and garments in great abundance. And a plague like this plague shall fall on the horses, the mules, and the camels, the donkeys, and whatever beasts may be in those camps. Then everyone who survives of all the nations that have come against Jerusalem shall go up year after year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Booths, tabernacles, which we just did last week. And if any of the families of the earth do not go up to Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, there will be no rain on them. And if the family of Egypt does not go up and present themselves, then on them there shall be no rain. See, this is including Gentiles and involving Gentiles. There shall be the plague with which the Lord afflicts the nations that do not go up to keep the Feast of Booths. This shall be the punishment to Egypt and the punishment to all the nations that do not go up to keep the Feast of Booths. He said, 4 times now? 3 times? And on that day there shall be inscribed on the bells of the horses, holy to the Lord, and the pots in the house of the Lord shall be as the bowls before the altar. And every pot in Jerusalem and Judah shall be holy to the Lord of hosts, so that all who sacrifice may come and take of them and boil the meat of the sacrifice in them. Oh, Levitical priesthood, sacrifice, meat. And there shall no longer be a traitor in the house of the Lord of hosts on that day. I'm not saying this is it. I am just reminding you of what it looks like, and that we can be aware of it if we're in the light. We can be we can be aware of it if we're sober, if we're walking in the Spirit.
The views and opinions expressed during our broadcasts are solely those of the broadcast producers, hosts, and/or guests, etc., and are not necessarily the views or opinions of the Travelog Network, its sponsors, or affiliates.